What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me, out here doing some testing, having a little fun today. Fantastic weather out here, so I'm gonna try to make the most of it. And this one right here should be another good HST test. So y'all know the drill. We got the chrono and 2 blocks of gel set up. Now I've only done one test so far in this gel, and it's a little old 25 and 22 mag test. So I'll leave some links above if y'all hadn't seen that. No problem with having plenty more room to get this one here done. As you can see, I am staying with that good old heavy clothing barrier that's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we're checking out here in a couple different rounds is what many people regard as the best carry round out there, the Federal Premium HST. So what we got some 40 cal. Now this is the Leo packaging. It's the same exact stuff. I've tested this exhaustively. I know it's the same stuff, so have no fear there. It's the 40 Smith & Wesson 180 grain HST. As you can see, nice nickel plated case with that good old HST projectile. And then obviously what we're putting up against it is its big brother, basically the 10 millimeter HST. Now this one's a 200 grainer, but the same exact nickel plated case, same exact projectile. So these are basically the same rounds, other than a little more powder in the longer case of the 10. And the tools I'm going to be testing them out of today, as far as the 10 mil, you know, it's my good old Gen 4 Glock 20 with the roughly 4.5 inch barrel. And then for the 40 Smith & Wesson, we keeping it as close as we can. We got the Glock 22 again with the 4.5 inch barrel. Now this right here was actually a request that I had on my live stream this past Saturday, and it was something I actually wanted to do anyway, so it should be very, very interesting to see just how much difference there is between this 40 and the 10. Y'all know how I am about 10. I know this HST doesn't quite live up to my expectations as a 10, but I will say it's probably one of the closer ones as far as readily available off the shelf. So it's going to be interesting to see just how much stronger it is than its 40 counterpart. Let me get this stuff set up and let's find out. All right, let's get us some speed, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each one, starting with the 40 Smith & Wesson first. I looked on the box, and the box is actually saying 1,010 at the muzzle, so that should be easy to hit with this Glock 22, I'm guessing anyway. Got 1,008. I said it was gonna be easy, but evidently it ain't. Got 1,000. Got 1,011, 985, whoops, and 1,006. So definitely didn't quite hit that 1,010 average, I don't think. Let's check it out. All right, y'all, before I click it over to the average, I just wanted to show you, like I say, the box said 1,010 at the muzzle, but it also said 954 at 50 yards. So this is one of the cases where these smaller, longer numbers are pretty useful as far as, you know, verifying what they saying, or even with 10 mil, you know, there's a certain way, the original design of 10 mil, I believe, called for a certain energy at 50 yards out there. So this can be useful for that for sure. But anyway, our 5-round average on that was 1,002 feet per second, 26 extreme spread, and a standard deviation of 10.2. So let me reset it and let's see what that 10 mil can do. All right, let's check out this 10 mil, y'all. 200 grain HST. Now, ideally from a 200 grain 10 mil, I want to see 1250 at the muzzle. I already know I'm not going to see it out of this because I've tested it before. So let's see what we get out of this thing with the 5-round average. Got 1,091, 1,109, 1112, 1093, and 1124. So like I said, definitely not the 1250 that I would expect for a 200 grain. Let's check that data. All right, so before I show you the average on this one, just real quick, I want to talk about again this 10 mil measuring out at 50 yards. So if you'll see this last round, now pay no attention to where it says shot 007. I goofed up. I didn't have the thing on the arm, long story short, but this is the 5-round average. So anyway, the last round here, the muzzle was 1124, so which I always call too low. It it ain't real 10. Y'all know how I am. Now at 50 yards, you were still 1,059, which if you'll look on a different screen here, this screen here shows all your energies. Somebody asked me, like, it'd be nice if you can put the weight in of the projectile, and it does. Like, I put all that in here, but there's just so many screens, I can't scroll through this on every test, or every one of my videos would be 20 minutes long and nobody watched this stuff. But anyway, for this 10 mil, it's kind of interesting because I know a lot of people, and like I say, I believe one of the original designs of the 10 mil round was to keep a certain foot-pounds of energy at the 50-yard mark. And now at this one here, you can see it gives you all the way from muzzle 3, 7, 10, 25, 50. At 50 yards, you're still carrying right at 500 foot-pounds of energy. So, I mean, if that's what you judge a 10 mil by, then yeah, you can call this true 10 mil. Me personally, I judge 10 mil based on other rounds I've tested. If another round can give me the power and the energy that I want, then I'm not going to accept it from anything else. But as far as the average that time, like I said, you can see on this screen, it only counted 5 in that average. The average is 1106, an extreme spread of 33, and a standard deviation of 13. And if you remember off that 40, it was 1,002, so you're talking about 104 feet per second faster from this 10 mil. 104 feet, I mean, that's 10%, so I would call that a significant difference, but not as much difference as I want to see from 40 to 10 mil. It's just not, in my opinion. Now, all that being said, I think both of these are going to do an absolutely fantastic job in the gel, so let's get this stuff reset. Y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's 40 versus 40 long jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each round into the gel, starting with this 40 first from the Glock 22. Let's see what this thing does. Like I say, I got a feeling both of these are gonna do very nicely in the gel. All right, I think that went exactly where I wanted it. Let's go check it out. All right, y'all, there was no doubt in my mind we were gonna see some really good stuff from these things, and we halfway there. That's looking really good down there. So let's check out this 10 mil. I know this is gonna be another good one. It's probably gonna jump the block off the table because of me putting it down towards the bottom, but it'll give us a good show anyway. Hopefully it stays out the bottom. That's my only worry. All right, y'all, I just made a horrendous mess down there. I mean, I probably hit 3 or 4 inches lower than I wanted to. I ain't even gonna lie about it. That was totally me. I could feel myself jerk the heck out of that thing. I tell you, sometimes it psychs me out. I ain't making no excuses. That was me just acting stupid, but sometimes it gets me all mixed up. These different trigger pulls, they'll get you. You expect a break when it don't come, and you sit out here and flinch like a crazy man. Well, let's try this again, y'all. It made my decision easy. I was either gonna flip my block around after this test or the next one, so it made that decision easy. I'm definitely flipping it around, but hopefully I can get this in a clear spot without causing too much issue here. Let's see what I can do. Let's try to act like we got some sense this time. All right, that one right there was much better. Let's go see what we got. All right, y'all, let's check out this mess I made down here. I don't guess anybody would believe I hit that wood on purpose to give y'all a little impromptu hard barrier test, would you? If you don't, I don't blame you, because I wouldn't either. But anyway, what we got down here is absolute devastation from both of these rounds. I figured we would have just what we got down here. These HSTs are just absolutely incredible performing rounds. I mean, these things just make you feel some kind of way when you check them out down here. So on the top, that's the 40 Smith & Wesson. Now, it's right in front of a, I think that was a 25 actually, believe it or not. It's right in front of that, so most of it's covering that wound track behind it, but if you'll notice that really light section right here, that right there, and then right up under it, this right here, that's the only thing you're seeing that's actually not part of this 40 wound channel. The rest of it is just, all of this is 40. Comes in here, immediate expansion, no question about it. Just, it totally ignores that cloth. Very, very nice disruption right here. That nice spiral looking action carries through the block all the way through this entire block, and it actually poked into this next one probably about 1/4 of an inch and then rebounded a little bit, and I can already tell you, absolutely terrific expansion from it. And then of course down here on the bottom, that's the mess I made. Both of these were the 10 mils. Now that first 10 mil, like I said, I definitely did not mean to do that, and it's caused me a mess, but I don't really mind so much because this, you know, this is a flip around block anyway, and it really did kind of give you a little impromptu hard barrier look here. So that one actually went almost all the way into that wood, pretty much probably 80%, maybe some of it was still sticking up, but anyway, through that wood, out of it, back into the gel here, and you can see the projectile here. I would say that's about 14.5, 15 inches, and it's actually got some expansion on it, believe it or not. Now, nothing like you want to see, but it actually did try to expand even after coming through that wood and out of it. But then this next 10 mil, it absolutely got it done. Came in here again, doesn't care anything about that cloth, instant expansion, you can just tell. Very, very nice disruption, I mean, and it carries all the way through this first block again into the second block, still causing some nasty disruption, spiraling. You can tell that wound channel's twisting, and right down here is the projectile. Massive expansion on that thing and just incredible penetration. And speaking of the penetration, like I said, this 40 Smith & Wesson, it went exactly 16.25 inches and then rebounded back. Your 10 mils here, the one that went into that board, it actually came up back up into the gel and stopped at 14.5 inches. I mean 14.5 inches through a 2x6 down there, treated 2x6. And in the second one, it's all the way out here at 22.5 inches. So some absolute massive penetration on that one there. Now here's your look overhead. That very top one there, that was a 25. The one in the middle, that's that 40. Again, fantastic disruption all the way through that first block. And then you can see the projectile, you can see it poked into that second block just a little bit. And then down on the bottom there, you can see the 10. You see the good one that we kept, and then the other one that went into the wood. Just crazy amounts of disruption all the way through. That's that one, like I said, that went through the wood. It tried to expand even still. The other one keeps on trucking all the way into this second block, and there you see it sitting there. Just crazy, crazy expansion on it. All right, let's check out these projectiles, y'all. So these right here, these two are the 10 mil. This is the 40. Now, just appearance alone, looking at them, this 40 definitely looks nicer. As you can see, there's no doubt it expanded more, peeled back a good bit further. You can see there down the base, a lot more lead peeled out of the cavity there. Now, probably my guess is that's probably because this 200 grain projectile that they use in the 10 is a harder type of lead alloy. That's just my guess. You know, that would be the smart thing to do. But either way, both of these look very, very nice. Really, really even, symmetrical expansion on them. Now, if we look at this 10 mil here, this is the one that went into that piece of wood down there. A totally different story. This thing mangled all two pieces, lost a lot of material. There's probably about half the petals missing and a big old chunk of lead, and I can see it down there in the gel. So totally different story. We'll measure that and all, but really these right here are the main ones you want to look at. I mean, and that's just perfect, perfect expansion from both of those. So let's weigh them up and see what we got there. This 40 Smith & Wesson started at 180 and it is at 180.4. So nothing lost there. I don't see anything in the gel. Now these 10 mils started at 200. This one here that's mostly intact is actually 200.6. So nothing lost there. And then this mangled up one here, it's actually all the way down to 179.3. And like I said, it definitely shows in the gel. It lost about half of its material off the jacket and a big old chunk of lead. Now, as far as the sizes on them, we'll start with this 40 Smith & Wesson first. You got 685, 691, and 674. So some fantastic expansion from that one there. And then on the 10 mil, we'll get a couple little measurements on this mangled up one first. If we take the biggest section here, you got 798, and then across this ways you got 439. So very, very uneven, just mangled up expansion, if you want to call it there. And then for this 10 mil that stayed pretty much intact, you got 677, 687, and 675. So again, some very, very nice expansion from that one there. And there you have it, y'all, the Federal Premium HST in 40 Smith & Wesson and 10 millimeter. Very, very nice performance from both of these. Like I said, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind these things were going to do a fantastic job. Now, I won't even get into the whole 10 mil debate. I talked about that earlier. That really wasn't the case here. This was more of a test to see just how far apart in performance these things are. Either way, for either task, both of these things would do a phenomenal job. All right, y'all, I'm gonna call it right there for what I think was another really interesting 40 versus 10 mil test. Like I said, I've tested both of these rounds separate, so I knew I was gonna see some good performance with them. Never tested them side by side, so it really was interesting to see the difference between 40 and 10 mil and an actually good loaded round. You know, I talk about these HSTs not being up to my standard, but again, like I mentioned at the beginning, they are probably one of the closest I've tested as far as off the shelf stuff that's right there where they should be. So it's really interesting to see a test like this with good ammo and see the difference, because there was a pretty decent difference between these. And then if you look back on a test I did, you know, 10 versus 40 with something like that nozzler stuff that I tested, there was virtually no difference in that. So it shows you right there that some manufacturers take 10 more seriously than others do, I guess. But let me know what y'all think about the performance you saw out here today. Were you surprised either way? Did you expect more of a difference, less of a difference? Do you carry either one of these? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you reach down and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got them notifications turned on so you don't miss anything when I upload it. Take a second, like I always ask, and check out those affiliate links I got down in the video description. Anything you buy after going through any of those links down there really does help, so I appreciate that. Once again, I appreciate all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all out there for supporting the channel. I got some more really good stuff planned for out here today, so be on the lookout. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.